This is the first of a series of presentations about the vanished industries of the Tyne. The Tyne is just behind me here, and you can see and hear the power of the water as it flows past. And that power has been used for centuries to drive the industries along the Tyne, to grind corn, to drive looms, to scour fleeces. And the water has been used for dyeing cloth, and of course for drinking water for man and beast, and as the ingredient of beer and whiskey, albeit filtered through the sands and gravels that line the river valley here. We're going to take a short walk along the Tyne and a longer journey through history to explore some of the vanished industries, three in particular: the West Mills, the maltings, and what we call the tannery, but isn't really a tannery. And our guides to these industries will be some of the workers who were employed there when they were at their peak. Well, Mrs. Bowman, I understand that you worked for some time in the West Mills as a young woman.
Well, yes, I started when I was 15.
Was that straight from school then?
It's 1945, and straight from school, yes. I was going to work in a design office there, and I spent 5 happy years there. Yes, it was interesting.
Where was the design office about in the mill? Was it
just towards the front?
Right.
Towards the front, behind the cottage.
Right, the old part of the mill.
Yes.
Okay. And what did your work consist of? What sort of things did you have to do?
Oh, mainly clerical at the beginning, because I was going to be training in the design bit, but at the beginning it was mostly clerical work. And I also used to take visitors around. That was part of my job, which was really fun, because we used to get them into the spinning place, and in the middle, when the machines came out, and you could see them worrying, was it going to stop in time?
But you would know exactly how far they went.
Yes. So that was a bit of fun.
And were these buyers coming round then?
Yeah, no, they were visitors, and some of them were demobbed people that were in some place waiting to be demobbed, and they would bring them out just for a day out, I suppose. And we took them round and gave them tea and stuff.
Remind me what the mill made. What did it produce?
Oh, it was tweed, and very high quality tweed, although during the war they made khaki and for the uniforms, but it was very high quality tweed.
And was it sold as a finished product, or was it sold as lengths of tweed that were then tailored by other people?
It was sold in lengths of tweed, and for Jack Maar and Jaeger. Yeah, very high quality stuff, yes. And when you saw it in the rough stage, you'd never believe how it was going to be when it was finished, because there were some very talented craftspeople there, the darners, who could finish the material off beautifully. Nothing showed. None of the faults showed.
How big was the workforce, roughly? I mean, how many people worked in the mill?
There must have been about 300, I would think. Maybe not as many, but there seemed an awful lot of people, different departments.
So it's quite a major employer in the town, really.
Oh, yes.
Were they mainly women, or?
Oh, a lot of women. A lot of women worked there. And I think some of them had to work during the war to fill up the men's places, yeah.
So they continued.
Yes. Oh, yes.
I'm told there was quite a social life.
Oh, yes. They just after the war, when it finished, they built a lovely tennis court at the end, which is a derelict place nowadays. But it was beautifully done, beautifully landscaped, and we had the tennis club there. And they also built a very nice canteen, and well, they had games in there and table tennis and stuff.
Was this during the lunch break, or was this after work in the
yes,
evening?
both, yes. Because a lot of people worked who were living out of the town in other towns, and their lunch hour, it was good for them to be able to play something like that. And it was a very good canteen, When I think about it, it really was lovely.
Proper cooked lunch then, was it?
Yes, proper cooked lunches. It was really nice. And they built a new warehouse at the end, and they had the whole of the workforce were there for a lovely dinner. It was wonderful, and it was all decorated and all the rest of it. It was really, really good.
Did they have a mill dance or anything like that?
Yes, they used to have milk dances, and sometimes we ran an outing, a trip, you know,
Oh.
down the borders or somewhere like that.
It's a coach trip then
Yes,
too.
coach
Oh.
trips, yes. Oh yes, it was a very social place.
So it's not just a workplace, it's a community too. There was-
Absolutely, yes. And mothers brought their daughters in to work, you know, it was a generation thing. You know, it wasn't just one generation, their children
Real
came along
family
as they
concern
grew up,
then, yes.
yes, and worked there too.
When did you leave the West Mill?
I left in 1950 to get married, yes. And that was that, yes.
So that was your apprenticeship
Yes.
complete.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much, Mrs. Bowman. We
It's
enjoyed hearing
been my
something of your
pleasure. Thank
time
you.
at the West Mills. Well, Mr. McLaren, you worked at the West Mills for quite a long time, I understand.
Yes,
When did you start?
I started in 1945 as an apprentice tuner.
And was that straight from school, or?
That was straight from school.
And
Yes,
how old were you then?
14.
14. Gosh. And how long did your apprenticeship last?
5 years and 2 years journeyman. 7 years.
So 7 years. So what's the difference there between the apprentice and the journeyman?
Well, when you were, after you'd done learning, your
Mhm.
apprentice, you got a section of your own machines,
Right.
and you had to maintain them and look after them.
Uh-huh.
Well, I did that for 2 years, and then I was on my own.
And then you're a fully qualified
tuner.
tuner.
That's right.
And how many looms were you looking after? in the
8.
8.
That was a section.
And how many were there in total then?
Oh, in that mill there was about 45, I think there was in here.
So there'd be another 5 or 6 people like you
Oh yes,
at
yes,
tuners.
that's right. They were all in sections.
So how many people worked in the West Mills?
In the West
then?
Mill, oh, there must have been about, what, 150, 200.
Gosh.
Because you had spinning and weaving and carding, and right from the raw wool, right from the start, right through to the finished article.
So was it fleece going in at one end
That's
and
right.
finished?
Spinning, washing, spinning, and then come through on the bobbins, on pins for the loops. They went into the shuttle.
Astonishing. When you think back to it, what is your impression of it? I mean, was it a noisy place?
Oh yes, you wouldn't get away with that now.
Uh-huh.
No, you have to have ear muffs and all that nowadays. You didn't have any then. No.
It suffered from time to time from fire and flood.
Oh
Have
yeah.
you any experience in your time of these?
No, I didn't have any when I was there.
Uh-huh.
No. After I left, I had that fire up the stair. I minded coming down and having a look at it at the time, because it was spinning was full of oil. The floor was full of oil.
So it
Oh,
would be tinder then.
we were making, at that time we were making khaki for the army, and the mob suit cloth.
This would
And,
be the 1950s, I guess.
That's
isn't it?
right. I left there in 1962.
What does it feel to you being back on this site, where we have the West Mill in the background there? How does it feel?
They needed a bulldozer, really.
Really?
They needed a bulldozer, because the place is red rotten. It was red rotten.
Well,
So,
thank you very much, Mr.
Thank
McLaren,
you.
for
That's
sharing
it.
something of your
No
time
bother.
at the West
Oh,
Mills. I appreciate
that's
that.
it, that was it. They were a good days, though. They were a good days.
Tell me, Mr. Frenzel, about the new plant. You said there was old plant, which was the old-fashioned floor malting, and then new plant was introduced in 1963. Is that right?
1963, the new plant came into production, like, you know.
And what was different about the new plant?
Well, the difference is the barley went into the plant. It was never touched by hand and came as mold out of the plant.
Was it entirely mechanized?
Entirely mechanized, yes.
And how many people worked on the new plant?
Well, there's only one operator at the time,
Just one person.
one person. But then all the things, the mechanical things of what's involved with, like, you know.
And this,
And you got the chemist
uh-huh.
and the manager and the office workers, like, you know. But there was only one
but just
man,
one operator.
one operator. But
And this was continuous production?
yes, 24-hour production. It never stopped. Never stopped. Even for holidays, it didn't stop.
365 days a
because
year.
it was too expensive to stop it.
Ah, right. So this meant shift work.
It was shift work, I see. Well, at the start we had 8-hour shifts, and then it was reduced to 12-hour shift, the hours.
Where did the
Because-
malt... Sorry.
The operators, we got shorter operators, and that's why they increased the hours at work in 12-hour shifts.
And presumably they had holiday cover when you had your...
Yes,
break,
oh yes. Well, it was only one man that covered the holidays had to be taken staggered, like, you know, he couldn't take, two men couldn't take a holiday at once, you know.
So the machine kept
Yeah,
running all the
yeah.
time. Where did the malt go? What happened to the product?
Well, it went to the distilleries and breweries.
Right. Did it would finish up in some famous whiskies, I suppose?
Oh yes, malt whiskey.
Malt, right.
Malt
Single
whiskey,
malts.
And beer, lager.
So all over Scotland then?
It's all over Scotland, yeah. They
The-
supplied it all over Scotland.
The maltings had, they had problems with fire and flooding from time to time, did they not?
Yeah.
Were you there?
Flood, yes. I was there at the big flood.
When was the big flood?
Well, that was 65, 60, I think 65.
And how much of the building was affected?
Well, the bottom floor was affected. We had to move all the electrical machines, the electrical motors up, a floor up, you know,
So
because
you,
that was all
you'd
in
be
the
out
water.
of production for a time.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that was a big loss to the farm because the stuff kept growing.
Oh, I see. Because the barley sprouted, didn't it?
Yeah,
Right.
it's sprouted and it just kept growing and it got hard and you had to dig it out and it was waste.
What does it feel? What does it feel to be on the site of the maltings now? And we're in this spanking new development, all these houses and gardens, and how does that
Well,
feel for you coming to your old workplace and seeing it now?
Well, it seems, well, at least they done something beautiful with it. You know, out of the countryside there, the country. But well, lovely houses too.
Memories there then.
Oh, memories, memories are there.
But good memories?
Well, I cannot complain. I'm not complaining because it's been nice. I was for 27 years and working in it. So
Until you retired, I suppose.
I retired, and then 2 years after the place closed down.
Is that when it moved to Berwick, did it? Or
No, they actually originally came from Berwick,
oh, I see. Right.
but they still had Berwick. They
Right.
had 5 or 6 small things all over England.
So this one just closed totally.
This
at
one
that
got closed.
I understand that the water for the maltings all came from a well on the site?
Yes, that's a borehole. We call it a borehole. There's the board at the side of the. There was actually 2.
Ah. And can you remember where they were on the site?
I remember where they were, but well, that was one of the pumps is still under there.
Ah.
Well, they couldn't retrieve it.
Of
like,
course.
you know.
Of course. And these would be very deep, I suppose.
25 meters, I believe.
Gosh.
But there's a lake under there, under here. There's a big lake. We used about million gallons in 2 days.
In 2 days?
In 2 days, 1 million gallons of water.
So you
in
needed
2
a
days.
constant and an enormous supply of water,
Yeah.
fresh water. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Frenzel. Thank you. We're just opposite Tyne Court here, and Tyne Court was the site of the Haddington tannery, one of the Haddington tanneries. In fact, it's a skin works, as we'll learn. The site also includes the former buildings of the Nungate Brewery. Now, this area has been used for centuries by skinners. It was downstream from the main part of the town. Behind me is, just behind the Episcopal Church there, is Skinners Now. The process of turning the fleece and skin of a newly slaughtered sheep into the skins that you could make bagpipes from is really quite a complex one, and we're lucky to have a time-served skinner who can tell us all about it.
No, because you knew fine who done it, the condition of the coming off.
Is that the guys that were preparing it
Yeah.
for you to, so,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to ask you a wee bit about the process, and
Yeah.
we can find out where you fitted into that, where the skinners
Yeah.
fitted into it. All right, so you needed a good man feeding you.
Yeah. Well, actually, doing the work was the labourers. After, when the skins came in and they were priced, you know, they got priced on the quality and the style and the condition and everything else. Well, that was down to the management.
Okay, so they were responsible for the,
Yeah.
the pricing.
Price. Then it went from there. It went into the washing machine to get washed. Then after that, it went into pits of water.
Right.
Pits that came, the water came directly off the Tyne.
Oh, it's just the river just coming
Oh,
in.
aye.
And was there soap in it or anything like that? Or was it just water?
No,
that
no,
was going- it was just
no,
dunked
just-
in water.
just-
and-
Put in water and filled up 500 or 600 to a pit. No.
Gosh. So there must have been huge pits in the ground here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, aye.
Kind of cement lined things.
Yeah,
Then,
that's right. Aye. And they had a big machine for drawing the water in. You know, a Cummins engine type thing to bring the water in.
The kind of regulations regarding water use and everything must be very tough now.
Well, you didn't have it then.
Whereas it was just going into the Tyne,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah,
Before?
in and out.
Aye.
And you got the muck going out and all.
And it would be pretty mucky at times. when
It was
was
that.
going.
Aye. And after it went through the washing machine, as I said, into the pits, it was taken out the next day, put on hex, as we call them hex, they're kind of like wooden platform type
Oh,
thing.
I saw them like pallets, aren't they?
Aye, yeah, but only they were shaped that shape,
Right,
so that they could drip better.
right.
And they got taken away to where they got spread up onto a barrel. They
Onto
got
a
opened
barrel,
up.
right.
Just a flat platform with 3 wheels on it,
Right.
and it spread them out, and they went to the liming tub where they got limed.
And is this quick lime just going on to
No,
that?
no,
Or is
it was settle lime. Came
Right.
from down England somewhere, and you put a wee maybe half a ton of chemical in it to help it work.
And is this to loosen the wool
Yeah, the
from the
wool
skin itself?
From the
Right.
skin, yeah. And it went laid on the other hex, and then it was left till the next day. And then it was put through the washing machine again. And that's when the lime came off.
Right. So
And
you're
it
then
went
left
straight
with
into the
you're
thing.
left with a skin, but still with the wool attached.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
loose.
Yeah.
Right.
No, no,
It's
no
not loose yet. Right.
No, no,
Okay.
because you had to tug it.
Right.
You had a certain amount of tugging to do it. See? And after that, it went up out to the ranges. So it's on the other side of the building, this
Right.
building. And it was a wooden, big wooden pole type things. You know, you hung them over there. And then the next
This is
day,
out in the open then. This is in
yes,
the right.
it was standing
Right.
open. Aye.
Right.
But of course there was a wall round about the bottom half here, you know, but as long as the air came in, it dried it off. And it went from there, the men used to put it on their shoulders, and we take it up 2 flights of stairs.
And this is a pile of fleeces at one go, I assume?
No, no fleeces.
No,
skins.
skins. Okay, right,
Aye.
right.
Because that's two
Right,
different
right.
subjects. And from there we graded it, and it went in, from there it went into the dryers to dry it. And that was the kilns that was heated up with coke.
Ah.
Oh,
And it's just rising hot air then?
yeah,
Just,
all
right.
the time, yeah.
So by the time it reached you, you had a dry skin then? A skin with...
No,
Right.
no,
No?
that was after the wool was
Right.
pulled from
Right,
the skinner.
okay.
It went into the kiln, and after that it was taken and put into bings of wool. You know, you might get £5,000 say pick or super, and that used to go up there, up the top there.
I mean, clearly there were two sides to the operation. I always thought of the skins as being the real product and the wool as a byproduct, but it seemed from what you're saying that the wool was equally important? Or?
Oh yeah,
Right, right.
It must have been
Right.
because it means you went to all the woolen mills and everything else. Whereas the pelt, it went, we took them down after we took the wool off, and we took them down to a wheel that washed the pelt,
Right.
took the lime off and all. And the man graded them, put them into separate, and they went into pits separate.
So, where did your job, in this long process from the animal skin coming in to the finished product, where does the skinner come in then? At what point
We're
does
pulling the wool.
take the wool off? Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And have you also got the kind of, is there fat and meat and things on the other side?
No, that's not indeed.
No,
That's already been
It's
taken
gone.
off with
Right.
the killers
Okay, right,
at the abattoirs.
right.
When the skins came in first, they got salted
Uh-huh.
if they wanted to keep them, you know, because at certain times of the year the wool was only that length,
Uh-huh. Oh yes. Oh.
and they kept them until they got enough, say a couple of thousand, and we done it over the old beam style.
And these are preserved skins,
yeah.
semi-preserved skins that are
Yeah.
coming in. God, they must have smelt to high heaven, did it?
Well, the midden was over there and all.
There'll be some good gardens down the road there, I've no doubt.
And that's where we used to get the maggots for the fishing.
Ah, from the skin,
Yeah.
right. So thank you very much indeed,
Yeah, that's
Mr. McLaren, for
pleasure.
coming. It's
Yeah.
interesting to talk about the skin works now
Yeah.
on the site of the skin works here in Tyne Court.
Yeah.
Much changed
Oh,
from the
yeah,
time that you
yeah,
worked here.
It would be better, you know.
Thank you very much indeed.
Okay, thank you.
We're ending our journey here in these beautiful gardens of Haddington House. It's ironic that although all three of the industries we've looked at were flooded from time to time, two of them ended in fire, and the third from the effects of rationalisation and planning restrictions. The maltings and Tyne Court have both been converted for residential use, and at this time the future of the West Mills is not clear. Buildings may change, buildings may go, but memories linger, and we hope that you've enjoyed the recollections of those who worked in these vanished industries of Haddington. We're very grateful to all of them who contributed.